Hi, everyone. Today is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. My name is Tammy Healy, and this is the International Outreach Think Tank meeting. And Kimberly, I'm going to hand it off to you to read the Bivens. If you don't have it, I can screen share.
Would you screen share, please? I am not putting my hand on it as quickly as I'd like to. I apologize.
No worries. All right. Can you see that enough?
I can, thank you. Bivens Declaration. Bivens versus 6 unknown agents from 403 US 388 from 1971. This meeting is private. Bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forums is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance in today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, city, county, or township agencies present? Is there a response to the Bivens decision for the first time? Is there a response for the second time? Is there a response for the third and final time? Anyone who is under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign government, including the territorial United States or municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here must fully disclose their presence and purpose now or leave the premises or this conference call. If they subsequently show up as a federal witness, they are discredited for failure to disclose. Are you now or have you ever received money or personal support of any kind from the intelligence community? Upon no response to this notice of the Bivens decision, this meeting shall now proceed. I yield.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Of course.
All right. And if you guys don't mind, I'm going to start us off in a prayer. Divine Creator, source of all that is, we call upon your infinite love and wisdom to surround us this evening. We step into this meeting with unwavering faith, knowing that we are divinely protected, guided, and blessed beyond measure. We surrender our fears, our doubts, and our worries. We release all that no longer serves us. We let go of resistance, and in its place, we welcome the radiant light of divine favor. We are covered by an impenetrable shield of divine protection. No negativity, no fear, and no limitation can touch us. We are surrounded by light. We are guarded by love. We walk in divine safety wherever we go. Tonight, we declare that blessings are flowing into our lives and our assemblies effortlessly. Every door that was once closed is now opening. Every obstacle is now dissolving. Every delay is transforming into divine timing. Breakthroughs are happening right now. We are stepping into reality where abundance, joy, success, and our birthright. The universe is aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in our favor. Divine Source, fill us with your wisdom and let our thoughts be inspired, our words uplifting, and let our actions create ripples of kindness and love in the world. We declare that this meeting be filled with grace, miracles, and unexpected blessings. So think it, so feel it, so say it, so be it, and so it is. All right. I'm going to get into old business here. And the only thing, I am in need of somebody who would be willing to help schedule the American State Assembly's podcasts. If anybody is willing to, what that would entail is just basically reaching out to the states that that's not represented yet, and make some connections through emails, phone calls, if you have their phone numbers and would like to talk to them and ask them about that. Because I'd like to get more of our assemblies represented. It would be great to have faces to all of our 50 state assemblies. And so if anybody feels called to want to help in that endeavor, I really would appreciate the help. And you could just private message me or send something in the chat. And I would love to just get all of these assemblies represented. And I'm sure all of you know, time is of the essence. It's it's time consuming to try to reach out and keep track of everybody that you have reached out to. I've had some unpleasant responses with people saying, I told you that we're not going to do it right now. And, and so trying to keep track of who I've already reached out to and, what their responses were. Is a bit daunting, so it would be great if there was somebody that could assist in that. I could use the help. So, all right, Resurgence Coordination Team number 4, the playback I included on the agenda, and that was this past Sunday. It was a great meeting, and I encourage you guys, if you are going to be doing county tours or anything like that, to watch those playbacks. There was great conversation that took place in that meeting. And so anyway, it's there. The link is there. If anybody doesn't have anything else about those 2 things, we could get right into our new business. All right. Outreach updates. All right, I've got a few people that are going to talk about their outreach initiatives, and I have Darren up first. Darren, you want to talk to us about, I think there was something specific Luis was hoping that you would have spoken about on the Sunday meeting. Luis, I don't know, maybe you want to clarify, and maybe you and Darren already had words, I don't know.
Yes, there was something Darren was going to be sharing about the way that Terra Australis is organizing their assemblies. He wasn't able to make it. He had emailed me like, oh, my electricity went out. So we offered him to come in here and share it. And I see he's here now.
Wonderful. Thanks, Louise, and good to see you. So I do have a bit of a presentation that I'm more than happy to share. How long would you allow me?
However long you need. I mean, maybe, I don't know, what do you think you're going to need? 20 minutes?
I went through it in detail last night with the International Treasury Committee, and it took about 45 minutes, but I can rush. I can go a little bit quickly and answer questions as they come up. So I'm very happy to do that.
Perfect.
Would it be possible to share screen?
Yeah,
Yes.
if you'd like, sure. You should have the ability to do that.
Looks like I do. Thank you. So are you able to see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Beautiful. I'll jump straight in. So what happened going back maybe 3 months ago now is that we had a big influx of volunteers to help us with our action groups, so our committees and working groups and things, to create our assembly structure, define the officers that will be elected into different roles, and some of the processes and procedures. So, for example, the process that we will follow for elections, and that sort of thing. No different to what everybody else is working on. Because we had an influx of volunteers, it gave us an opportunity to have a review of the processes that we were following and the decision-making in particular. So we had a look at this idea of the principles of 7, and I have shared that with some of you. And we went from a team of about 20 people on our National Assembly, which was creating the National Assembly. Just for clarity, so Australia has 6 states and 2 territories. And when we first kicked off in January 2024, we made the mistake of thinking we had to mirror their structure. And it created some challenges for us. So the individual states weren't working together. Some of the states were falling behind, struggling to get people to join, not having a lot of experience or knowledge as to what they were building. And we really didn't communicate. So the first change we made was in March of this year, we switched from having separate states. We made a single state. So Terra Australis is one state. And we've gotten rid of all of the fake division between the people. So since March this year, we've become unified. We're all working together. We're creating a single structure, single set of processes and offices and all of those things. And it's been magnificent. And the fruits of that have been lots of people seeing that we're doing good work and coming to join us. I will say one of the best things that we did, and I'm so pleased we did, is right from day one, we focused on, if somebody put their hand up, we'd say, great, let's start a local assembly right where you are. And so we help people kickstart local assemblies. So local, what you would call a county assembly. Our local assemblies are our recruitment arm. And they're actively working to bring people together in a building, share knowledge, share experience, and help people do the reconveyance paperwork. So we now have 63 local assemblies across the country, and they're all out there recruiting. And what they're also doing is they're encouraging people to come forward and get involved in the action groups and building their assembly. So we've gone from a group of 20 who are making all the decisions, doing all of the work, creating all of the structure. We now have turned that on the head, and we've said anybody who is a coordinator for a local assembly or is actively involved in an action group form our National General Assembly. It's the interim National General Assembly because we haven't had elections yet. We're in a pretty good position. So if you are active, you get a say. And part of the reason for that is we want to encourage people to get active so that they can have a say. So that group at the moment is just over 100 people. So we went from 20 to 100. And the principle of sevens is that groups are most effective and efficient with between 7 and 9 people. Any less than that, you struggle to get a broad, perspective on life and ideas coming forward. Any more than that, it can come into a talk fest rather than actually getting things done. So on that basis, each of our pillars, we've implemented a pillar coordinator for each of the pillars. So we have 4 pillar coordinators. Each of the pillars obviously have big rocks. So if you looked at our international business pillar, that has different action groups. That would be the Treasury, and I've got a mind blank at the moment, but there's lots of these big rocks or key focus areas. So we break down the whole pillar into these chunks, and those are your committees and working groups and whatever else. So, but each of those obviously has their own big rocks or key focus areas. So we are creating a whole heap of subcommittees around that. The subcommittee is, and interestingly, I saw the transcript for Anna's most recent talk, and she's talking about this stuff too. So that aligns beautifully. But the subcommittees is where the work happens. I can't see hands up or anything like that. So please just speak up if you do have a question.
No, we just
The
have a hot mic.
Okay, cool. Thank you. This is where the work happens in the subcommittee. The chair of each of these subcommittees, along with the committee chair, form a circle. They come together to help each other to deliver the outcomes. And this is all about delivering outcomes. The subcommittee has a very specific focus. So we anticipate, this is all still new, we anticipate that we'll be able to recruit more volunteers to get involved in this because we're not feeding them the whole elephant. We're just saying, here's a little chunk, we need someone to come in and help us finish. People will come forward more easily, is our thinking. But the chairs from these form the action group. So each chair is across everything that's going on in that action group. So everybody chairing a subcommittee on the Treasury Committee will know everything that's going on in the Treasury Committee, and they will keep their team up to date. The chair of the action group is part of the international business pillar circle of 7, or guardianage pillar, or jural pillar, or whatever. So all of the chairs of all the different groups know everything that's going on within that pillar. So that the decisions that are coming out of those groups will be aligned. That's the key. When they create an output, so for example, the Office of Treasurer, we do a charter for the Office of Treasurer. Once this group is happy with it, they can see that it meets the needs of the pillar and it aligns with all of the other output from the pillar. It comes to our steering circle. So the steering circle includes Mookie. So Mookie is our fiduciary and our head of state. So it's important that he knows, he's got an overview of what's going on in the overall assembly structure. It's not that he's actively involved. In fact, for most of the meetings, he sits in the background and doesn't even talk. He's just listening to get a feel for it. But the pillar coordinators, plus there's a bit of a steering, sorry, not a steering, whoops, not a steering committee. There's a brains trust or some advisors that come on that there. So I'm one of those. Lauren is one of those. And Ben Gardner from Victoria is one of those. So we've got at the moment 8 people on there, but they're a guiding hand. They're not a decision-making body. Once the output comes into here, it gets shared with these guys. All of our pillar coordinators are across everything that's going on in the whole structure. They make sure that it aligns with the output from everything else, and they'll do a little vet check to say, does that take away anybody's rights? The answer has to be no, otherwise it goes back to get fixed. And obviously that's a learning for everybody throughout this part of the organisation too. So once it's all okay, it aligns with the needs of the assemblies, preparing us for elections. Every Tuesday night we have a National General Assembly, and we've been getting, I think we had 64 people come on this Tuesday just gone. Oh. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to grow this body from 100 odd to 300 by filling all of these subcommittees. And we would hope to get 150, 200 people every week coming along to be involved in the decisions. The output gets presented to them. They are being upskilled as well. Their knowledge of how the assembly functions and how it all ties together, etc. We're upskilling 63 people at the moment as to the overall structure, and hopefully 200 people in the near future. They make a call. So they lend, by doing a vote, they lend their authority to the output from back here. And that becomes what we're going to do. And we're conscious everything we build is in draft. As more and more people come on board, we get more knowledge and experience, everything's going to change. This is a really ugly slide. It's still in draft format. I've got to spend some time to fix it up. But what we just shared there was the subcommittees. So every assembly has the same structure, or every pillar, sorry, has the same structure. Subcommittees, the committees form the pillar circle, which is where they make all the decisions relating to that pillar. It comes to the steering circle, and then it gets presented to the overall General Assembly for approval. So the committees and subcommittees draft stuff, it gets reviewed at the pillar, it gets approved for presentation. It's not that it's these guys can say yay or nay to the actual process, and then it gets presented for approval and authority. So that came about because of the influx of volunteers. We needed to make sure. Terra Australis is different to America in that we've never been free. We didn't have a war of independence. When the Brits turned up here in 1788, it was already corporate. They'd learnt from America how to run a governmental services corporation without needing the land and soil governance structure. People in Australia don't talk about freedom. We don't talk about bills of rights. We don't talk about any of those good things. So the population has no idea that it's enslaved. So we have to sort of make sure that we dot the I's, cross the T's with everything we do, because we don't want to leave any hooks that the system could use to make us appear illegitimate. So the more people involved in the building of the assembly, the more people that are involved in approving the processes and the documents and that sort of thing, the more legitimate it is, both from GovCo perspective and the broader community, because we do need them on side as well, or at least not throwing rocks at us. Down the bottom of that slide, you can see there the strategy task force. So Lauren is the chair of the strategy task force, and it has 2 objectives. And Louise, this came from the work that you were doing with the Resurgence project. But we need to have a group of people that are good with, driving and building action plans and making sure that they get carried out. So the strategy task force has 2 objectives. The first one is to get us to the point where our National Assembly is ready for elections. And the second one is to get us to the point where GovCo voluntarily acquiesce authority to the people via the assemblies. challenging, but loads of fun and very forward thinking and down in the detail in terms of what needs to be done. So that's where we are at. And then the next bit is a discussion document. So beginning of this year, Anna started talking about the need for a national soil jurisdiction or union state assembly. And there was a little bit of a spanner in the works for me, and I've spent months chewing that over and trying to work out exactly what that looks like. And I put all this together before she spoke about it on Monday, I think it was, where she said, oh no, the national soil and the international jurisdiction assemblies are all the same people, just with different hats on, acting in different jurisdiction. So what I'm presenting here is counter to what Anna has brought forward, but I'm pretty confident I've got it right, and it'll come through in as I work through it. So I won't spend a whole lot of time on this slide here. This is just our local or your county assemblies, and nothing really changes here. The county assembly is all of the people, whether you reconveyed or otherwise. So our local assemblies have regular meetings. Most of them are monthly, some of them are fortnightly, but everybody is invited. Even state citizens can come along and express their views and take part in conversations and make tea and coffee and do whatever they want to help with the assemblies. They just can't take part in votes or stand for election. Everything that happens in the locality of the assembly falls under the jurisdiction of the assembly. So we traditionally, in this day and age, think, oh, if it's happening at a school, that's a state government thing. But here, if it happens in your location, it affects the people, then you have a responsibility to be involved. So all the public assets, all the infrastructure, all the resources. But they will delegate some of those assets or some of those resources to the National Assembly. Things like railways, airports, water, potentially, as that covers multiple assemblies. That sort of thing. I will spend a couple of minutes on the jural assembly. So one of the things I think that we're missing all around the country or all around the world is your local soil assembly acts on customs and community expectations. The trial here is about what the people will expect and what the people want. The jury decision is final, and the jury makes the determination on law, fact, and restitution or resolution. So this is not about a written law. It's not about common law. It's the law of the soil is customs. We have a problem at the moment where our customs are more aligned to the watery world than to the soil world, but that will change fairly quickly as people become aware of what's happening. The governance assembly is where the elected officers are attached, and at the General Assembly, this is where people express their collective will. The Governance Assembly's role is to enact the expressed collective will of the people. So if this body here votes to build a swing set in a local park, or they vote to stop fluoridating the water, or stop spraying the skies, or stop injecting poisons into people, that becomes law because it's the expressed collective will of the people. And the elected office, so they're elected with the authority of the people to act in their office, and they're given a law to go and enact. Their job is to go and make it happen. This is how we turn the people's will into reality. So that's the county or local assemblies. I was going to jump past that, but I won't. This is the real discussion part of it. So the local assemblies will all elect two. I'm suggesting two, but that's up for discussion, of course. The people will decide. Fiduciaries to the National Soil Jurisdiction Assembly. And their job is to represent their localities in interests of matter of national importance. And there'll be more on that directly. Excuse me. Along with that, the National Soil Assembly is responsible for keeping the local assemblies all fully informed. So this is where the legacy system would have a gazette, and all of the decisions and the like get published in the Gazette so that everybody on the country knows what's going on. Now, whether we call it a Gazette, whether we call it something else, I don't really care. The people will decide. The local assemblies also delegate some authority to this body, and I suggest that that would probably be captured in an office charter. So the people who are elected to this will have an office charter. So each of the fiduciaries would have a charter, and that outlines the limits of their authority. So apologies for the black background. I've got no idea why my program is making that black. It prints white, it looks white on the screen, but it comes up here as black, makes it a little bit hard to read. So the General Assembly in the National Soil Jurisdiction Assembly is all of the elected fiduciaries. So there's going to be, for Terra Australis, there'll be at least 1,200 people sitting on this General Assembly. Now, there's challenges in that, but it's how the Greeks used to do it. And the beauty of that is it's very difficult for the Brits or the Vatican or the Freemasons to usurp 1,200 members. They'd have to get in and get command of the elections in 300 plus assemblies to be able to usurp this body. So for that reason, my suggestion is this is where the Treasury should sit. So the Treasury is our wealth. It's all the gold and silver, it's all the ore, it's all the coal, it's all the credit that's coming back to us. The gold that's sitting in the Philippines, all that stuff should be protected here by this body of 1,200 people who are there to act in behalf of the people of their local communities. And the Treasury belongs to the living, and the soil is the realm of the living. The soil is where the worms and the bugs and the animals and the people and the trees and everything are in the soil or on the soil. So this should sit here because it is the property of the living, is my suggestion. I don't see why we would have a soil jurisdiction court at the national level. A crime should be punished, a crime should be investigated and a trial should be held as close to where the crime occurred as possible and as quickly as possible. But here what I'm suggesting, this is the bridge, this is the go-between between the international realm and the local soil jurisdiction. So if someone came forward and said, an agent of the service provider corporations has caused me harm, we could hold a grand jury here where the grand jury looked at the evidence and decided whether the trial should occur in the local assembly, which is the man himself being held to account, or a trial should be held at the state levels in one of the state courts where the man in his office is being held to account for the actions that he undertook. But that's lots of discussion still to go on. This is purely a discussion document. There's a lot that we still have to learn. But I'm saying this is where we keep the GovCo agents accountable. It's probably enough for today. So this body, I've changed my mind on this. I originally said that this body here, the General Assembly of 1,200, would elect from their number deputies to work in the offices of each of the pillars. I've changed my mind. That should be a national election, because if we took people out of here and put them into these offices, some of the assemblies would be underrepresented in this body. So a national assembly where the people choose who's going to come into these offices, and but they take all their direction from this body, and this body is here to enact the collective will of the people. So this body, this General Assembly on the State Assembly, is only going to be a small number of people. Maybe it's 50, but it's only a small number of elected officers. And because it's national elections, the tyrants know how to sway elections with media, with money, with usurping the whatevers. This would be very easy to usurp, and I suspect that's probably one of the challenges that America had. So what we do, in my estimation, is we say, okay, well, this body has no actual authority. Everything they do has to be delegated to them through the National Soil Jurisdiction Assembly. They have no actual assets. All of the assets sit with the living in the National Soil Jurisdiction, or potentially some of them will sit with the local assemblies. So even if they do usurp it, we just burn this and start again, because they can't affect anything. They can't do anything. We're thinking big. We're thinking that soon the government corporations who are delivering services will have to come to us to get paid. At the moment, they know how to rape and pillage our trusts and our wealth and all of those things. That will come to an end, and they'll have to send us a bill. And the State Assembly, the International Jurisdiction Assembly, will have a body of accounts people who will vet that bill. So they'll go through it in detail, make sure we're not being charged for services that we don't want, and that we're not being overcharged, all that stuff. And then they will send that bill to the National Soil Jurisdiction Treasury, and the Treasury will check their work and all of that, of course, but then they'll pay the bill. So you cannot usurp the State Assembly, or sorry, you can, but if you do, you can't do any damage. So the state courts operate on land law or common law, and again, this is where we hold the agents and the service provider corporations to account, because common law, and I looked at the American public common law and I really couldn't understand it. I couldn't comprehend why it was statutory. I couldn't comprehend why it looked at precedents. But this makes sense to me now when I recognise that the local assemblies, the people decide. It's got nothing to do with a written law. It's got nothing to do with what's happened before. It's right here, right now, what this man did, how he's behaving in regards to that. Is he repenting? Is he sorry that he did it? What kind of harm? All that stuff. It's a completely separate jurisdiction, completely separate law. So what I'm proposing is that it is only the state courts, and we could have many of them around the country, but only the state courts that use our land law. We did invoke a land law here, or your common law. I won't labour that any longer. This is where we have the International Business Assembly pillar, because it's doing international business. And again, there are officers elected into here, and it'll be these guys, the 20 to 30, but they're elected into here to implement the collective will of the people as expressed via the National Soil Jurisdiction. The other thing I've looked at, and again, this is purely for conversation, there'll be people that look into this in more detail. The militia operates in the soil. It doesn't operate in international jurisdiction. So it doesn't make sense that the State Assembly would have a militia pillar, in my mind. But the Peacekeeping Task Force does operate in international jurisdiction. It's the bridge between the soil and the water. So maybe that's where this sits instead. And it's engaged by the General Assembly in the state. But of course, the soil assemblies can decide whether they use its services or not. But it makes sense to me that that's where that would sit. So this is kind of the breakup. What we've been doing is we've been creating the National Assembly, and we've been creating it with our Treasury and IT committees and on and on and on. And this is going slowly. You know, we're relying on lots of people to come in and help pull that together, and it's going to take us a long time to get it finalised. So it's a long time before we can have elections and have an assembly up and running. This research and the proposal is to say, we got this wrong. And I might just say, this came about because a few weeks ago I said on one of the meetings, we need to have a rethink. Anna's talking about this National Soil Jurisdiction Assembly that we haven't even thought about yet, but it would be our National Assembly. The State Assembly is our International Land Jurisdiction Assembly. It should be called the State Assembly. I've now changed my mind. What we are building right now, we should turn around and say, hang on a minute, don't even consider international. It's only national. It's only national soil. So refocus, and it doesn't mean a big change actually, because it's how we operate anyway, but refocus all of these committees on building our National Soil Jurisdiction Assembly. We can bring in a group of 6 or 8 people and very, very quickly define the offices and the functions of this State Assembly, and then get it approved through our approval process. But we can build this very quickly with a small number of people, because this body has no authority and no assets. So reality is that within 3 months, we could probably have our state assembly and our state courts up and running. This one's going to take a lot longer. There's probably another 12 months work in building this one. And obviously, it's the state assembly we stand first, then our local assemblies, and it's the local assemblies that form our national assembly. So it's a little bit of a flip to what we've been talking about doing, but that's my proposal. And this is what it would look like. All of our local assemblies delegating some stuff and electing people to form this. This body here looks after national infrastructure and it gives direction to the state assembly. And then the state assembly, no assets, no authority. It does all the negotiating with the legacy system, does international treaties, it does whatever it has to do. But it can only do what the people express for it to do. This national soil keeps the local assemblies fully engaged, fully abreast of everything that's going on here. This assembly here is responsible for keeping these guys fully informed, but also these guys fully informed. And they can't get away with anything. And that is my presentation. I yield. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Darren. This looks really well laid out. Clearly, there's a little bit of differences from America to Terra Australis, but it sounds like you guys are really making some headway and growing your assemblies from this approach. So that's really inspiring. And I think we're going to go ahead and take some questions. Luis, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tammy. So I really appreciated this here, Darren. As I'm approaching the American Government's Resurgence project, it's all about strategy in my mind. How do we go about executing what we have to execute? But first, before we get to executing, you have to think about the structure, how it's all going to fit together. And I like that Terra Australis have their way of doing it, and it brings to our mind the need to assess, evaluate, critique, bounce off of you all's ideas to see if we are structuring it the way that, that works best. Because just because I know we're trying to reconstruct first what was already there, and then from there change what we don't think, is working. But I always think like this is, I have to think about where am I going so I'll know right now, am I putting the pieces in place so that when I get there, they will fit. So yes. I really appreciate how you all taking some courage to do this. I mean, this takes courage. That's what I think of. It's like you're making it your own. You're creating it yourself. It's not like you're not reconstructing what's already been there.
No.
Yeah. So.
Thank you, Louise. Yeah. One of the things I didn't say, but I do tend to say when I'm presenting to the group, because we're trying to upskill everybody. A lot of people don't have, they haven't got that picture in their minds yet of what this looks like and how it works and why we need to do it. So the way I put it to people is we are borrowing from the Americans the structure that we are implementing. We do have to make it our own, but we have to be careful not to turn it on its head. Now, there are things we can change, but there are things that must remain constant. And the reason for that is we are, by implementing the structure that was put in place in America in 1776, we are bringing forward a governance structure that is internationally accepted already. The international community and the corporate international community have already accepted this model. So we do have to be careful not to make structural changes that will undermine that. And the system has already been tested. Now, it worked for 8 years in America. So we know that it's going to work for us. We just need to put some protections in place to make sure that we don't get usurped and lose our freedom because we didn't comprehend how they did it. So hence why I'm saying it makes sense to split those two jurisdictional assemblies and not give that authority to 20 or 30 people who have been elected into that office. Protect it, put it into the soil, have a separate fiduciary body that's responsible for it, and create that delineation. But the model itself is exactly what was brought to life on America in 1776. And we are loving having a clean slate, not having to go back to something. And we can do that again because it's always been corporate here from 1788 when the first fleet arrived with all of the well, it was a penal settlement, so all of the prisoners. And even when they brought in the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution in 1901, that was still corporate. There was no protections in there for the people. And it was a deal done between the Vatican and the Crown to bring the Vatican's business into Australia. We're in a pretty good position because, again, the land itself was never claimed, let alone given away. If you look at the definition of Australia, Australia is very wet. It's out in the water. If you look at the definition of state, it's everything up to the shoreline. So it's only the water. Same with territory. Territory is everything up to the shoreline. So we're in a really good position, and it means that we can think right outside of what we're seeing and, as you say, try and create something that we can aim for. So appreciate the feedback. Thank you. I cut you off. I don't know whether you had a question for me.
No, I didn't have a question. I don't know, Luis, did you have anything else that you wanted to ask?
No, I didn't have a question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Darren. It was a beautiful presentation. I have a question for you concerning outreach. When you're going out and you're reaching out to the public, are you presenting this to them, or is this something that you're presenting to people that you've already got on board?
This type of presentation, I tend to, so I put this together. I get a few small groups together. So, for example, I have a regular Sunday night jitsi meet where I invite anybody to come and have a chat and talk about assembly type business. So I present this to there. It's only a small group. It's usually 6 or 8 people that come in. Sometimes it's bigger if I announce I'm going to do something special, but just a small group. But they're a group that have been coming and talking to me for a long time. So they've got a pretty good idea of where I'm coming from anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great group to bounce ideas off and get feedback so I can then amend it. And then I present it to the Tuesday night meeting, which I did this week, and shared it with the 64 people or whatever it was that was on there. And that's all about, they then have a broader perspective of what it is we're building. And I've done a couple of other presentations since. Like I said, the International Treasury Outreach think tank last night. So people from all over the world. And it was received very well there as well. So generally what I do is sort of that first, try and get it as clean cut and aligned with people's thinking as I can. And then usually I'll do a video and talk through the presentation on a video. And I'll release that video into the public channels. Yeah.
The groups that you're speaking of, like when you said that you meet on Sundays with a small group, are these people just people from the general public that are just learning about your assembly, or is this people that are already a part of your assembly and you're just looking for feedback as far as how to set up the structure of your government?
So the people that I talk to regularly are generally local assembly coordinators.
Okay.
From around the country. But the invitations are public. It's actually up on our public meetings calendar. And every now and then I'll get a complete newbie pop in and hear what we've got to say and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I don't keep it closed shop because, again, the General Assembly is all of the people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do try to get feedback from as far and broad as I can.
Beautiful. Yeah, we do the same on New Jersey as well.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. I'll drop
All
that
right.
down.
Does anybody have anything else they'd like to ask or comment on Darren?
May I?
Yes, go ahead, Kimberly.
Thank you,
Hey,
Darren.
Kimberly.
Wonderful. Hi, Darren. It's so wonderful. I just love seeing what you guys are doing. And it's really exciting to just I think see a whole community pick it up like you are and have such success happening with it. So just bravo, continue the great work, and I can't wait to hear that this is going to take a long time. It's right round the corner, and I think it's closer than we all realize. So thank you so much for the presentation. I actually had texted a couple folks on my assembly and said, guys, you got to catch the replay on this. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Look forward to hearing what others say too. Thank you. I yield.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Looks like pressure's off. I yield. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to move on to Vicki Van Wert. She's got a few things that she's been doing for outreach, and she's going to catch us up on that. Go ahead, Vicki.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good to see you all again. So in our education and outreach committee, we got thinking about all the link trees that everyone has. And I know in Pennsylvania, our link tree is pretty long because we use it for making it quick and easy to access podcasts and, you know, all kinds of things that we want to be able to share with our assembly and for, you know, finding things quickly. But when we send someone new that we're just talking about all of this and, you know, how they're still in that, I'm not sure what you're talking about, and I need more information. And if we send them to our link tree or most of the link trees out there, there's so much information that they just get lost in it. So we decided just to make a short outreach link tree. So I'll share the screen and show it to you. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. So if you go to our outreach ice drive, the think tank outreach ice drive, I did put it on there. So it's here. So don't forget on ice drive, you have to download it for the links to work. So this is what it looks like. The QR code is there. And we made it generic so that it doesn't link to any specific assembly, but it links to the states.americanstatenationals.org so they can find a coordinator. And then it also links to claimyourinheritance.info, so that would also link to it. So when you download this, this scan is also a link, so you can just touch on the scan. So it's just a short one with just really basic information. And we have it out there now on this ice drive for you to be able to use and share, and just put it out there on your brochures or any way that you want to use it. Let's see. Then the other thing I wanted to show you that I put in here was on Pennsylvania, we have monthly a live meeting for the public. And this is what we put out this past month. And I put this in there as a sample, so if you want to copy the wordage or anything. But what we did was we put that out, and we have a coffee house nearby that they lend us their room, and then we bring in a lot of business for coffee and lunch. So it's a good public sharing. And so what we did this past time is we showed the video from claimyourinheritance.info. So, and this is the paper that we handed out to everyone that came. And then the ones that came that were just coming to find out what we were all about, these different article numbers, we had printed them out also so that they had something physical to take home and read. Except article number 1 down there at the bottom. I put that in there because article 5586 references that article 1, and that one's like 60 pages long, so we didn't print that out. But anyway, what we did was we showed the video. Download it.
are both standing in the way of these
And we just stopped it whenever anybody had a
Attention.
question. So it took us about an hour and a half to go through that 29-minute video, but we had really great discussions. We had about maybe 25 people at that meeting, and I think 6 of them were just coming to find out what everything was about. One man didn't know anyone in the assembly. He just heard there was a meeting going on about this, so he showed up. And if they had a question, they just asked us to stop, and then we answered their question. Sometimes we would say, well, let's keep watching it because that's covered later on. But we just had some really good conversations about the different topics on there. And then after that, we showed the 2-minute video on which United States is shutting down that the GFG put out. And then we showed the 5 minutes Meet Your Straw Man video. So between those 3, we covered like a lot of topics. We had a lot of good discussions, and it just went really well. And then they went home with the links to all these articles, plus the paper articles. And then here we had some more QR codes to links, and you can see we did put in the Road to Freedom one also. And then we had at the bottom of it, we had contact information for people. So it was a really good way to do some outreach, and we're going to do it again at the beginning of December. And of those 6 people that came, I think 3 of them are working on their paperwork now, and the others want to be invited back to the next meeting that we have. So, I think that's all I needed to cover. Any questions or comments or?
Awesome. I love that sheet. I love the fact that you had 3 of them already ready to correct their status. Can you walk us through the process of what you did when you were converting them? Like, you know, they came to your outreach event. How did you then how long did it take for them to say, hey, I want to do this? Did you have to continue to follow up, or were they convinced and they just went ahead and said, yeah, let's go ahead and do this? Can you talk about that?
Most of them came with somebody in the assembly that they had been talking to. I know at least one of them was at a prior meeting, and she wants to be invited to another meeting. So she's not ready, but she's still, you know, just wants to know more, get to know more people. And I think it's really helpful when a lot of the assembly people show up, because you can just talk about so many different topics, and it helps them realize that, you know, we don't have 2 horns and, you know, all this, you know, we're just real people. We're just like, here we are.
Yes.
Here at the coffee shop having lunch, you know. So, and then on our state, we have people contact our coordinator, and he sends out a series of questions so that we know which 1779 to do and how much help they want with their paperwork. So several of the people have contacted our coordinator to start that process. So that's how we do it here. But, and then the others, we always have a sheet at the table there, and we ask them to put their name and email down. So then we can email information on more things coming out, or when we make new outreach pieces, we'll send them that, and just keep in touch that way.
Beautiful. Kimberly, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vicki. That's so interesting. I think you did a really beautiful job with that. I wanted to ask you 2 questions. The first one is, when you are promoting the actual events that you're hosting, could you share some of the ways that you're actually letting that message get out, or how you're actually advertising that message? And then the second is, are you having any resistance to QR codes? We've had a little kicking at times about them, other times not. And I just was wondering if you're finding that they're being accepted well, or are people giving you any kickback on that? Thank you so much. I yield.
Sure. As far as QR codes, no, I haven't had really anybody say anything about them. So on most of the outreach things that we do, or presentations, I usually underline things that are links. So on presentations, we don't use a lot of QR codes, but As you can see on that paper, I made the QR code also a link if you click on it. So that way, if you email that out, you know, they don't have to scan it. They can just click on it and it will link. So, and as far as how we're promoting it, we're promoting it in the assembly a lot. So where this coffee shop is, it's in a really small town, and we're kind of out in rural Pennsylvania with a couple little towns around us. So we're not in a city or anything, but I know my husband, Ted, he's gone around to barbershops and the local pool halls and library and grocery stores, and we've put this out there. And I know he's found that at the barbershops and where he goes to play pool, like these are topics that the men that are hanging out there are talking about. So a couple of them are saying they're going to be there at our next one, so we'll see. But we do have people from that will drive like an hour and a half to be there, like in the assembly. I know Rick Wright's on this meeting now, and he came down. He has about an hour and a half drive, but he brought three people with him. So yeah, I don't know how many people show up. We never really know who will, but it's fun to do. We have a good time. And you know, if no new people show up and we all just end up just assembly members there for coffee, we'll just have a good time learning with each other anyway.
Thank you so much for that. Are you using any, I'm asking you and any, are you guys using Facebooks or Clout Hubs or any social medias? Do you guys have pages that you have for those for your assembly yet? I don't know what the consensus is and what people are doing or what's working. So just sort of gathering information to be able to bring home. Thank you so much. I yield.
Yeah, we really don't have any Facebook or Twitter or any kind of account like that. But that reminds me, if you don't mind, I would like to show you guys something I just started working on, so it's not done. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on it if this group doesn't feel that we want to use it. So is it okay if I share that, Tammy?
Yeah, of course.
It's outreach. Okay, so I was on Canva, which I do a lot of, pretty much all my stuff on Canva. And I just came across something on Canva that said how easy it is to make a video. I'm like, all right, let's try that out. So I got thinking about a video. So let's see if I can remember how to do this. I'm kind of new to this, so bear with me. So it's only partway done. You'll see that I kind of got that far and was spending a lot of time on it. But the QR code goes to claimyourinheritance.info, and it's on every frame. So my thought was, if we do a video short, like this is, at this point, it's 1 minute and 18 seconds long. But if we do a video short and it all leads back to claimyourinheritance.info and say, we send it out to all the coordinators, and the coordinators send it out to everybody in their assembly, and everybody in their assembly shares it with family and friends. Well, then it goes everywhere. It goes all over the country, all over the world, whatever. But it all comes back to claimyourinheritance.info. So I guess I was just wondering, do I want to spend more time on this and actually finish it, or do we feel like it's not really something that will work?
Can you play it for us, Vicki?
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, so it's very rough. So, you know, and I know when I share a video on free conference call, my iPad won't share the sound. So this does have music in the background, but if you don't hear it, it's, you know, that's okay. Just kind of watch it. Yeah, so at that point, I was just, throwing some things up there and trying to figure out how much more to do on it.
I love it. I think this is great. What a superb idea. And I love that Canva is, allowing you to create videos. We were looking into about a year and a half ago. You know how in restaurants they have the TVs that do advertising.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're sitting there, like at a sports bar or a grill, a pub or wherever, and they've got the TVs going with these kinds of advertisements, usually it's local businesses that are advertising. And I remember sitting in one restaurant here and saying, "Oh, we need to put a little video together." So this is fantastic. I think the video though has to, for that purpose, has to be like a 20 to a 30-second, kind of quick clip. But yeah, I love this idea. This is great. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure. So, so you feel like it's something worthwhile that I should finish and then share? Or,
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
would share that on social media for sure.
okay. I was basically taking the wording from the video, the American history that's never been told, so. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll work on it and let you know how it's going.
Vicki, I love your work. You're so creative and talented. We're just really blessed that you share your stuff. So thank you.
Sure. I yield.
All right. So for us on New Jersey, we're still in the planning stages. We're moving forward in January. And so we're, planning to have the county invite us in. We're making plans to put the international public notice in one of our local newspapers. And then we'll be canvassing. And at this event, we're going to offer status corrections. Um, if they have their two witnesses available, we will have the paperwork there so that people can see what it looks like, and have it all set up in case anybody is ready and wants to move ahead. But we do plan on giving that slide presentation and just having it be upbeat and positive. I think what I'd like to do is we spoke about this, in our outreach meetings, is to videotape it. And then we could also even use that as sharing, like as marketing material as well, maybe with some edits or something. But, I think that we're really moving forward and we're on schedule. And in fact, most of the people on my outreach committee are on the meeting tonight. I don't know. I'm going to open it up and see if any of them want to comment or, give some details that perhaps I'm not sharing or forgetting. I know Phil and Alice have been doing a lot of work on that project because the first county that we're going to be touring in is on their county, so they're the guinea pigs for us. Um, and so, I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but if you do, just unmute yourself and share something. But we're just trying to put a blueprint together so that as we move along in other counties, um, we kind of have it streamlined. We have, a process in place and it becomes easier as we go along. But I think that for us, I think what we are hoping for is that by doing these county tours and kind of spreading ourselves out across the state, it's going to open ourselves up to a wider audience. And I think that face-to-face interaction with people is going to make a bigger difference. So that's all I have to report. Kimberly, go ahead.
Thank you. I have something I've been chewing on since I had a talk with Lisa Schaefer. And I am wondering if any others can give me feedback on it. What the conversation was in speaking about we states in outreach capacity, wanting to do outreach in the soil jurisdiction. And is that, do we have to be invited onto a county to actually, as the state, come in? So has anyone else addressed that, dealt with it? What if we don't have men and women on a county? Is there anything that anyone could potentially offer me on that topic? Or are we are we just kind of going in and doing it? I don't know quite what's going on with that. So if anyone could give me some offering, I see Luis is handed up. So thank you very much. I look forward to the feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, Luis, I can speak on this as well. So the way that we're handling this on our state is the people who are on our state assembly um, are the ones that are organizing the county. So Phil and Alice, they live on Morris County. And so they're the ones that are organizing the efforts on the county. And when we are at this event, they will be introducing the state assembly because they will be welcoming us as the people that live on that county. They're welcoming us into their county and allowing us to introduce and interact and just reach out to the public on that county. But we're also inviting surrounding counties as well. So that's how we're handling it. Luis, I don't know if you want to speak on that topic too.
Well, I think you said it there, Tammy. The only addition I would say is, if there's no one in your assembly that's on the county that you want to tour into, it's our responsibility to do it anyway, regardless whether you live on that county or not, as our responsibility as a government, and is our responsibility as a sovereign, to go and let those people know about what has happened and what they need to do to get remedy.
You know, if we have.
Thank you. I wasn't really sure what to do with the not occupied or having anyone on a county. I wasn't sure what we were to do with that. So thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it. And I yield.
All right, anybody else? All right, I'm going to open the floor up to Karen Scalf. She's going to talk a little bit about stand-up. So Karen, you have the floor now.
Great, thank you guys. It was good to hear what everybody's doing as far as outreach. And of course, this is what the whole meeting is about, is how can we be the most effective and do outreach and bring this into other people's awareness. So if I may, I'm going to turn off my videos so I can share the screen, and hopefully the internet will cooperate, right? And let's see. How is that? Is that working? Whoops, hold on.
Yeah, we can see it.
Well, the good thing is that I probably need to be able to see as well.
Oh, you can't see it?
Here we go. How about that? Wait a minute. Let's go back. Now can you see the screen? And I can see it too. That'll help.
Yes, we can still see it.
Great. Well, you guys, it's all about how can we assist the people, because they are the ones with the value. So Stand Up has created a team of people, and we have the software to assist counties and states with the people with status correction, and in addition to the land recording office that each county and state needs. So tonight's presentation is to just briefly cover what these items look like, and for your assemblies to consider if they are ready for this part. So here we go. The CYS is Correct Your Status. It's the document generator. And not only does it create the documents that you need for status correction, but it also creates additional documents such as baby deeds and all the information you would need for a credential card. And so your county would receive a link for their own CYS and their own land recording office. And that really simplifies your outreach, because now, because people are so much focused on digital, they just want you to share a link with them and let them do the work themselves. So you don't even need a website. So Stand Up provides the server for all of this. And the process is very simple. So the people receive a link, they create their own CYS account, they enter their information, it creates their documents, and it emails it back to them instantly. They get to review the documents. Then your outreach or your onboarding team go there and assist them. Go back one. Whoops. Go back. It jumped ahead. At any rate, let's see if we can go back here. So the onboarding and the outreach team assist them with their documents. And then, of course, your county recording secretary uploads those documents into the land recording office. And you actually get to sample the document generator. You can even do it today or tonight while you're watching the presentation. You simply go to standup.land and you click on the CYS icon. Forgive me, the website's getting a little bit of an upgrade, so most of the links are working. We're still making some changes on the website. But create an account, fill in your information. Even if you've already got your documents, you can still use the CYS. You can add your passport photo, you submit, and the generator will include the cover sheet. You can do just the 3-pager, or you can do the total 928 package, plus baby deeds. There'll be additional notices that you can generate on there as well. And each individual has their own CYS account. And this is the way the database starts. And so that's very simple to see how technology can make outreach simple and easy. And it's so much faster than having to collect information, go down, sit in front of a computer, generate it, get back in touch with the people. You can see how this is a much faster process. And the people can review their documents, make sure everything is correct. Then they return back into the CYS. They can edit the information and turn their documents to black, because the red is the new part that they enter. They can go back in, finalize their documents, or create additional documents and notices. And we're excited about the new advanced features that have just become active. Of course, the initial documents are red so that it's easy for people to review the information they put in. Then you can go back in and select the black ink documents, and you can also select specific documents to receive in case you didn't want the entire package. So you can see how this really simplifies the recording secretary's job. It is much more efficient, saves a great deal of time and effort, and it's usually the difference between a person hesitating on correcting their status. If they feel like it's a lot of work and time, they simply just move on to the next thing of entertainment. It's kind of like social media. It's just a hamster wheel. But when you're serious about correcting your status and you provide this tool in front of them and say, look, it's really, really simple. You get your documents, you can read over them, you can get a feel for if you're ready for this. And if not, guess what? Those documents will be right there for you. So let's take a look at what the Declaration of 1779 and a witness document would look like if you were to go through the CYS. Here's a sample here. When you sample the document generator, of course, it's going to have a watermark on it, but you can see the areas in red. That would be your information for your state, your county, your name, your address, all of that information. And so this is where you would review it. And then you go back into the CYS and you select one of the advanced features and you turn those documents into black. And then they will look like this right here. Of course, the paragraph emblems would be gone, but this is just a screenshot of Jane Doe's documents that we've generated just to test the system. So you can see how instant the CYS works. It really saves a great deal of time and effort on everybody's part. And you can go to standup.land, sample it yourself. It's easy to navigate, creates the documents time saver, outreach and onboard, all the work is reduced. So now let's jump into the land recording office. This is designed for counties. It can also be used for states as well, but it's mainly designed for counties because that's where the people are and that's where they need to have their documents recorded. Each one of the counties creates the state assembly database. So you all work together. That's simply an agreement between the county and the state. Stand Up is simply a tool. And this is, of course, where you store the people's documents as well as you publish them. This could be anywhere from birth records to death records, land, property, notices, anything that you want to have published can be put into the land recording office, including some private documents. We're looking at having a vault so that you could put your will in there or your trust. So this is a digital database that's going to work for the people. And of course, the land recording office is county owned and managed. The county sets their own recording fee, and you are simply using one of the most professionally designed tools out there, made specifically for American state assemblies. And as we like to say, the land recording office is so easy a child can do it. It was well designed and laid out. It's had a lot of thought into how it was put together. And of course, we provide training for the recording secretaries as well as your onboarding team. So you don't have to be a recording secretary to be able to assist in the land recording office. Your onboarding team can help the people by taking their documents and scanning them and uploading them into the land recording office. And then, of course, the recording secretaries will do the final steps to make sure those documents are correct before they're actually recorded. We have videos and a manual for the land recording office on the website, so you are able to see that. And of course, we provide personal assistance, and the land recording office has secure access. In other words, there is accountability. There is no one that's going to be going in and tampering with those documents. And of course, the county designates who has access to the land recording office. So if there's someone that's not doing their job, then the county can handle the issues. Here for tonight, a lot of times I recommend to counties is that you set up one county per state to get started. And then the great thing is all the other counties on that state can piggyback until the other counties begin to organize. And that's just a great way to get started. Everybody's working together, county and state. You get one county set up with Stand Up. All the counties in that state get to use the same outreach link for generating documents. And then you record into one county's LRO, and then another county starts to populate. You can easily switch those digital records over to the other county. And this is a great way for the county assemblies to build themselves because they get to determine how they use their recording fees. They get to set their own budget, and those funds can be used for outreach supplies. They can train their sheriff or build their militia, however they are determined to do it, because the people do have the power on the county. And of course, the people speak, and we have heard the complaints or the roadblocks that they've been facing. And when people can't get their documents, it's very frustrating. So now Stand Up has started publishing. For those people that are unable to get documents on their own state, they can go directly to Stand Up, use the CYS to create their own documents, and they can publish for the fee of $75. The complaints that we've heard for exuberant prices was just crazy, and I believe Anna addressed that in one of her articles. So with Stand Up already having the tools in place, we figured we would help the people. They can also, if you're already a recorded ASN, you can also publish your documents on Stand Up. And of course, with your own CYS account, you'll be able to get additional documents and notices. They will be available soon. So you're welcome to share Stand Up with those seeking status correction. You can already do outreach just by sharing the Stand Up website. And of course, people are the value. You can launch your county. This just makes everything so much easier when you don't have to worry about having the manpower to create the documents. You can focus on those things that are more important. And of course, our pledge to you from Stand Up is to support the county and the state. It is a mutually beneficial relationship with everybody working together. And the agreement is the pay-as-you-grow plan, because face it, the type of software that we have would have cost quite a bit of money and investment to build this. But we have done it with a lot of dedication and commitment. And this provides a very small $100 setup fee for counties to get started. And then as the people correct their status, they are actually paying for the software by putting $15 toward this crowd-funded project. And that $15 goes toward investing for other software development, for outreach, for training, and for orientation classes that we have in the works. And so if you have skills in communication, website, graphics, if you're a recording secretary and you want to join the Stand Up team, my contact information is here. We look forward to working with you. And I appreciate your time tonight to be able to present this to the outreach, because you guys are doing a wonderful job and you're so dedicated that we all work together and we share ideas, we can make a lot of progress. So thank you, Tammy, for allowing me to share.
Oh, you're
And I
welcome.
can answer any questions if you have any.
Well, I know I have a question. So can you speak a little bit about how the system works as far as having the software set up? I think you said that you have the server, right? So people wouldn't need to purchase servers.
That's correct. Stand Up can stand alone.
Okay. And what is what is the programming that you all used for this? Is this like, um, is it a WordPress program?
No, all of our software is custom built by a professional software developer. He's had over 40 years of experience. He knows how to think outside the box. And we've been working on Stand Up software for over a year, have tested it. We're using it in the field and have several states already starting to use this. People are still in the training, learning how to use it efficiently, but we continue to add additional modules to it as well. And the website is just in its beginning phases, but we have communication channels that we set up specifically for outreach for the lawful sheriffs. We're just trying to be maybe a network so that other people can use Stand Up to benefit so many assemblies.
So my next question is, so if we're going to be offering status corrections at these events when we do the county tours, and say I had a computer and a portable printer, and we had people that could set up their accounts on our computers, and how quickly would they have their documents sent to them? Do you know how long that takes?
As quick as you can open up an email.
So, and then technically they'd be able to, if we had a printer there, they'd be able to print them and we could just get it done there. Yeah, that's interesting. The other question I had is when you said that the software, you're paying for the software. So say my county purchased this, uh, we would have the people on our county who would be responsible and have access for the uploading of the documents. How does that all work?
Sure. And what it is $100 setup fee to set up the database for your county. You would literally be a mobile outreach. You could send links to people, they could generate their documents, and then you could actually have a day where people come and you could have your notary publics there to help people assist them with autograph and putting their red thumbprints on their documents. Or you literally, people can enter their information in front of you, turn around, print those documents, autograph it, seal it, and your recording secretaries would be there. Because the way Stand Up works is you designate your recording secretaries. They also receive the email so that if people for some reason can't access their email, you can assist them from the first step all the way to the final.
And my next question, and I'm sorry, and I'm going to let anybody else who has any questions because I'm hogging the time here, but uh, on that notary block, do you have it set up that recording secretaries can also be notarial witnesses?
Yes, we can change that. The documents, of course, are universal from Anna, but any county can change their documents. So if they want recording secretaries to do the work instead of the notary public, it's just Stand Up's recommendation that people use the notary public, because if they are going to have to go to court for any reason or they don't understand their jurisdiction, the notary public is recognized by the de facto courts. However, we would like for ASNs to stay out of that jurisdiction because, there's nothing good going to happen in those courts.
Right.
And so it is up to the county. They get to decide what their documents look like.
Okay, thank you. I yield. Does anybody else have any questions for Karen? Kimberly, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you, Karen, for the presentation. I've seen you've grown from the time I had talked to you earlier about this. I wanted to ask you, it sounds like some of the new feature is that you have the ability to do recordings kind of as your own land recording office for men and women who are having difficulty on other states. Did I pick that up accurately?
You certainly did. There were many people on the coordinator call about 3 weeks ago that were voicing their concerns that they could not get their documents created, and then there was no place to publish them. And so Stand Up already has these tools in place. We have updated or revised the website so that people can actually go in through Stand Up, pay the $75, and we have publishing secretaries that will assist them with the completion of their documents.
Could
And
you
so
build, that means the completion of the documents?
the completion means to assist them even though we're working remotely, people need some guidance. They want to talk to a real man or woman to know that, hey, I'm doing this correct, right? And by teaming up with a person that can answer phone calls or assist them answer any additional questions, and then point them to their state assembly. People like somebody to hold their hand, especially when they're making a decision like this. It's totally new. They just want to know that there's somebody there to help them.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Bill. That what I was actually meaning by the question was in completing them, that they go through that process and then they get their documents. Are you then taking and publishing them for them on the
Yes.
LO or on Stand Up? How's that publishing? That's the stuff I was addressing, please.
Yes, Stand Up is publishing, and we do have a live publishing page now. The link will be added to the website probably by the end of this week, but we are already publishing.
Okay, and to be clear, you're publishing on Stand Up software, I'm sorry, Stand Up servers versus the LRO.
That's correct. Stand Up Land Recording Office is already in existence. And as Anna said, there will be many land recording offices all across the country. And it's good to publish we're in many places more than just one place. So that's
Okay.
why Stand Up is providing our LRO.
Okay, very good. Thank you for helping me comprehend that. My next question is technical support. What are you doing with regard to technical support for people with this, please?
Okay, are you talking about technical support on the document generator or technical support on the land recording office?
I think I mean more the software. If I'm comprehending, and again, if I'm inaccurate, help me to get into place. You're suggesting then a county or a state can come to you and make the purchase of the software, start the $100 setup, to do the unique build out for their particular, I don't want to say entity or organization, but county or, whatever specific group they are. They would do the $100 and then you start to set that up. I would think that there would need to be an ongoing technical support function. And so that's what I was looking at for operating the software. What does that technical support package look like?
Sure, you've got a good question. The technical support is you get to talk directly to the developer himself. The the software works automatically. You simply have a database that's set up for your county, and there is the software is backed up multiple places, and in addition, you back up your own database. And so when you ask for technical support, you actually get to talk directly to the software team.
Usually going to be a
Okay,
hero.
and I mean this with sincere love. How big is your software team? Because if you have lots of these coming and lots of questions coming in on a given day, problem with the system, those folks want to retire. Can you help me to get a little sense of the security and the stableness of that team, please?
Most definitely. We're adding people to our team as we go because, it's not only are we paying as we grow, but we are growing as we add additional counties and states to it. So Stand Up is here for the long haul. And I just challenge people to try it, see how smooth it works. And if you have any glitches, hey, you call me direct. We're here to help.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. Is there a renewal fee or an annual fee at all for the program, or is it just a one-time $100 thing and then the $15 per person afterwards?
It's just a one-time setup fee of $100, and it's a 1-year annual agreement. Hey, and if we don't provide, you're always free to choose other places. That's why Stand Up has a mutually beneficial agreement. It's not a contract. We're not a corporation. We are a private business being a service provider to our lawful American government. We are ASNs just like everybody else here.
So is there a renewal fee after that year that one should be prepared for to have to pay another fee at that year point?
No, there's no renewal fee.
Okay, it's just an annual, just kind of re-upping an agreement.
That's correct.
Okay, very good on that. And then my last question, and I'm sorry for so many, but they've been burning questions on me there. Can you please address the security levels and the vetting? Were you vetted? Have you been authorized by Anna with this? I'm not trying to challenge, I'm just trying to establish security. So I thank you for taking the question. I'm not meant to be. Yeah.
Sure. I appreciate the questions, Kimberly,
Could you
because they
please
are valid.
provide security?
Yes, they are valid questions. The good thing is the county is responsible for their land recording office. And of course, we provide security on our end as well. It is backed up with Bluehost, which is a premier service provider for the servers. And we are using the best products that we know how. Instead of starting with cheap or free, we believe in going whole hog, so to speak, and making sure that every angle is covered and that we can do the very best job we can do.
Thank you. And this has been vetted with Anna and the Federation?
No, Anna has been made aware of it. She has probably not had time to look into it, but hey, she has been emailed several times and she has been addressed with Stand Up. Um,
Down around New Orleans.
if anybody can get in touch with her and show Stand Up to her, be glad to do it. But right now, Anna has other things that she's looking for, and she's having to focus on, and she told us to go ahead and get the job done. So that's what we've done.
Very good. May I ask the final question I actually had want to add on that was if there, somebody after this year's term was not happy, do they actually get every bit of their information back? And it's not going to have to be paid for, extracted out of your system. They get everything and and fairness back as their own, as their own possession, as it were.
Sure. So actually the county has those records. Stand Up does not own any records. The people own their own records. So it's just a matter of clearing up the viewpoint. There's a lot of times people have misunderstandings or they don't understand how the land recording office is set up. So your county has your records, not Stand Up. You actually own the database, own the county. Nobody's going to hold your records hostage.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I know sometimes in software companies, and I wasn't intending to accuse you, but for the record, just to make absolutely sure that that was something that men and women knew, that they wouldn't get held hostage. And I didn't ever think you would do that, Karen, but for the record, I needed to make sure that it was asked. So thank you for entertaining my questions. I realized that they were not necessarily sounding friendly, and I didn't mean it that way, but for security and protection, I just wanted to get answers, and I thank you for taking the time to do so. I yield.
Hey, any question is we can answer any question on that. And two, I just remind people that when you are publishing your records, they are public. Now, of course, in the land recording office, there will be an option for you to have a vault. That will be for your private documents that you do not want published for the public to see. So there will be other options in there. But Stand Up is always a honorable company. We only work with other honorable ASNs, and so there is that level of accountability. And I appreciate the questions.
Yeah, does anybody have any other questions for Karen and Kimberly? For the record, I appreciate those questions too. I mean, I think a lot of us you know, are concerned with security purposes, also wanting to make sure that you know, Anna has seen the software, is aware of it, and is in support of it. I did hear her say on multiple occasions that there needs to be multiple LROs, and so it's really refreshing to see more and more people, you know, stepping up and doing that. I think it's really much needed. So I appreciate you giving the presentation tonight. I feel like I have a better understanding of it. And it definitely gives us in our assembly something to think about. So thank you, Karen. Anybody else have questions for Karen before we move on? We've got Luis is going to update us on the American Resurgence project.
Well, I appreciate your time tonight. I just challenge each one of you to test the CYS and see how it will change your outreach plans. You guys have a great night.
All right. Thank you, Karen. All right, Luis, I'm handing the floor over to you.
Thank you. Okay, let me see. Can everybody see my screen? I dropped these papers in the chat. I'm gonna go over this here briefly. I know we're got 15 minutes, I think.
Well, if we go a little over, it's okay, Luis.
Okay, so just to highlight a few things here. So on the ICE drive, I did add some reference teaching aid for the peacekeepers. Here's an example of it. You see where I got blue boxes? So the blue boxes is the teaching paragraph that tells you how to present the document. So when I say peacekeepers, I mean county sheriffs, continental marshals, marshal at arms, liaisons, those people. In phase 3, all those who's going to be involved in the phase 3 of securing the Capitol or just talking to the de facto counterparts. We got this reference guide we put together, and then these boxes just helps you to rehearse. That's what it is. So it helps you to rehearse on how to present the information to your counterparts when you're out there in the field. I put that on the ICE drive. The next thing I want to go over is there has been a shift from the model counties initiative transitioned to the model union state initiative. I did a presentation on that in total in the Resurgence Coordination Teams meeting number 4. That's in your agenda. So go back and look at that. But I want to go over it, just highlight it here to let you all know what's going on with this, because this is a shift in the outreach that we are, the strategy that I'm going to be using here going forward. So the model counties outreach was to choose one county in the state, in the union state, out of all the counties, one county who want to spearhead the outreach initiative in that whole state and bring all the counties together and share resources and share training and share strategies, ideas, and things like that to bring all the counties together so we get all the county assemblies stood up and the United States constructed. Well, after going through that for about 4 months, 5 months, I presented to Anna that there is a problem going on in the Model Counties Initiative, whereas there was a lot of conflict going on between the state's assemblies and the county assemblies. And she recommended or suggested, she didn't really tell me, but she said, well, she thought there was 4 test states. I mean, four test counties. He said, well, it'd be better to do 4 test counties than, the whole thing because we don't have it all figured out yet. And I didn't have any idea what she meant by 4 test counties, because that's not how I developed the model counties. But Joe and I decided, well, yes, we'll just change it a little bit. Since she's supportive of the 4 test counties, we'll change it and then focus on just 4 states. Because in the Resurgence Project, it has always been the push to stand up states and counties at the same time. That's always been the strategy. When I came up with the international postcard, it was county by county, standing up everything at a time, and that feeds into your state assembly. So the reason why we changed from the model county to what I'm calling now the model union state initiative is for those 2 reasons: because of the conflict that was going on, and because the fiduciary is supportive of 4 and testing those and try to build it out from there. So the difference is, instead of choosing one model county to spearhead the outreach, we'll let the counties go ahead and do their outreach anyway, because like I said earlier, we're all responsible for doing it anyway. You didn't need the PKTF to organize that for you, but I was trying to be the catalyst of getting people together to start working together and doing the outreach. So they're going to go ahead and do their thing anyway. But in the model union state initiative, I'm looking for 4 states who's willing to work with their counties to build their government in their state. So with the model union state initiative, it has come out in all of our strategic planning that there is a missing level of governance that we haven't talked about, which is the town. So in the model union state initiative, the objective is to stand up the totality of governance, American governance in that state, from the state assemblies to the county assemblies and the town assemblies. We're going to do the whole state. And I want to focus on 4 states who's willing and ready and have the capacity to do outreach. Who wants to do that? Just contact me and let me know. So I won't be continuing any more of the Resurgence Coordination Teams meetings, but what I will do is meet with these 4 states. We will record the calls, and send them out to everybody so you all can look in to see how it's going and pattern yourselves after that if you see it's useful. And what I found out too, how we're going to do the model union state initiative, what I observed is that when one of the model counties had asked me, when are they going to get their county electors in place? I didn't know what they meant. So I told them I have to go back and ask fiduciary what that is, or what the county electors position is, what you mean by that. So when I went back to research that to find out what that is, fiduciary says, yes, you have county electors. And then I find out in the drill assembly handbook, which I had never read, but that's where I found county electors at. In that book, I observed that how that book is saying to organize is different than how we do right now, according to how to build an assembly. So I'm going to focus on the drill assembly handbook and structure and focus on that blueprint in the Model Union State Initiative. We're going to base it off of the drill assembly blueprint. I don't know if anybody else have noticed that there's two different blueprints. I've heard about one, but I didn't know that there was two. I didn't read the drill assembly handbook, but it has, the way it approaches things is different than how we're approaching things right now with how to build an assembly. I think the drill assembly handbook it looks more substantive in how it does things. So I'm looking for 4 states. The PKTF is looking for 4 states who want to do that, and preferably not a state that's nearing seatment, because if you think you're already there, then you already have a strategy that you're using. And preferably not anyone who's in the tenfold shield project, because there's certain objectives that you're looking for to achieve with the militia pillar. So I'm looking for a state that's wide open to the idea of implementing the drill assembly handbook the way that it has outlined the blueprint. Just contact me, my email on that. Now, I want to put down here your resources, since I won't be having the Resurgence meetings only with those 4 states. There are county support resources here. Karen is having the county support meetings on first Mondays of the month. The next one is November 1st. There's her email and the bulletin board where you can go get the link to the meetings. Now that's for the counties who's already stood up. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Karen. And then the next one on first Wednesdays are for the new counties who's coming aboard, who needs more orientation to how to put your website together, how to set up, different things right from the ground level. So there's 2 meetings going on over there with Karen. And then there's a handbook that they're working on over there with Stand Up, that I have a link there, that it's being updated all the time with new stuff. And so that is something that all the county assemblies can have as a resource too. For phase 3, the peacekeepers, here are some resources for the peacekeepers. We have Restore the Republic with Sheriff Andrew and Sheriff Adam. They do the Restore the Republic podcast. We have the Peacekeepers and the Sheriff's Organization. Founder of Sheriff Adam Bonner, that will be providing training for sheriffs, either elected sheriffs or interim sheriffs. Training will be available through them. Now, this is not for you to go just ask any all questions you think you might have. So go to your assembly for that. But this is for if your assembly already elected you and you're already in interim position. Those are the people that the PSO will be providing training for. So that's another resource for the the sheriffs. Now there's more training coming after that with the other peacekeepers, but that hasn't been developed yet. So I know that they're going to focus on the sheriffs here first. And then of course the liaisons, we're in the management phase for those who's already passed through their enrollment. Now we're getting your badges, and your I shouldn't call it certifications, your acknowledgement that you've completed your training, your onboarding. So we're at that phase now with the liaison service. So if your assemblies have anyone interested in the liaison role, there's the link there to fill out the enrollment. Now, ideally, we would like to see states have at least 3 liaisons, ideally. Everyone should have at least 1, but ideally there's 3, because there's 3 different aspects to liaising that those liaisons will take on. One is communication, one is education, communication meaning doing presentations like this. One is education, finding out the information, documents and stuff that you need to have on hand when you're talking to people. And the third one, what the third liaison do? Can't remember what the third liaison do. And then for the counties, of course, you have to, you would need to have at least one. We haven't started onboarding county liaisons yet, but if your state already have your 3, or you have somebody in your state that wants to be on the county, and you do have your state assembly liaison already covered with at least one, then we probably could consider adding a county liaison to that state. But we'll take that one by one, you know, to try to see if we're ready for a county liaison for your state or not. So those are resources for the peacekeepers. Phase 4 and 5, broadcasting our message. So I've decided to go ahead and launch the Resurgence Post Report. I decided that it's going to be a video series. I'm going to start it on the PKTF YouTube channel. So if you haven't joined that channel yet, please go ahead and join it so that you can receive notifications of when I will post those videos. I'm not as disciplined enough to say every Tuesday it's going to be, or every Friday it's going to be. No, I'm just going to make sure I do at least one a week, 2 ideally a week. And it's going to be videos talking about the resurgence strategies, the assembly organization and assessments of how things are going, education about how the American government is different from the United States government, how people are doing on the ground, reporting on what the county sheriffs are doing on the ground, reporting of what the liaisons did at the Capitol. Those types of things is what the Resurgence Post Report is going to be about. Now, and I was thinking 1776 TV and blog platforms. I was thinking here, the idea to start is a syndication. So what I mean here is, like, I'm going to start the Resurgence Post Report. What do you all think about all these things that you all already have going on? The podcast for the American States Assemblies, or the podcast for the Restore the Republic. If you all want to upload a video from your platform to one platform, the 1776 TV platform, maybe start it with YouTube since it's free and it's easy to use. Everybody who wants to upload their piece of the video, meaning, I think the video shouldn't be an hour long. So for the TV platform, I'm thinking 20 to 30 minutes per video. So you might want to take out a snippet to highlight one hard-hitting nugget from what you said in that podcast, or what you said in that States Assemblies interview, and then put that on the 1776 TV platform. So that's my idea, to syndicate. Everybody have their little piece that they add to the TV platform, as opposed to one person managing all the stuff, because we don't have the one person who's available to do that. No one has stepped up to do that. But if everybody do their little part, then we can start our TV platform that way, where everybody is putting 20 to 30 minute segment on the platform. So y'all think about that. I'll get it started, and then you'll see how it's going, and see if you want to collaborate and add your 20 to 30 minute segment video. The new developments that I had mentioned here before, I've had about 3 short meetings today. I'm going to have some more either tomorrow or Friday about the opportunity that Emily and the U.S. Private Bank has offered to us to provide some funding for our reconstruction efforts. So I want you all to be thinking about budgets and what we're thinking. What we talked about today is, we're thinking that we're going to have you all present your budgets to her to get approval for your project. So when I say for your project, for your assembly reconstruction, or parts of your assembly reconstruction, such as if you're doing a county tour, that budget, you'll submit that budget and get just that part approved, because you can come back later and submit other budgets. Or your website build out, you might have a budget for that in your LRO. You want to submit that budget and get that approved. So I want you guys to start thinking about what would you like to get funding for? Because we're going to be asking for you all to present those, whoever wants to present those and ready to actually execute on some plan that you have. So I want you to think about that.
Louise,
That's pretty
could you just explain a little bit who Emily is and where the funds are coming from?
So Emily is from State National on California. So the funds are coming from a private bank called United States Capital Private Bank. I think that's what it's called. So we've had a meeting with Anna Hunter and the trustees of that bank. Now, the bank president was invited to come, but he didn't make it that meeting. But what she wants to do, she has a certain amount of, so the bank has gold assets. It's a private bank with gold assets. And he says that a lot of the gold that belongs to America, he's holding in that bank. And so that was the conversation that was supposed to take place between Anna Hunter and him, but he wasn't able to be there. But we did have a meeting prior to that with him and Emily, where we talked about funding the American government's Resurgence project and the PKTF. So we were in a meeting with him on that, and he said he would make it priority to get the project funded. Then we scheduled the follow-up meeting with Anna Hunter and him, but he wasn't able to make it that meeting. So coming up soon will be a meeting with them, but even before that happens, we're going to go ahead with the funding of the projects just with Emily's account. So that's where the funding is coming from that private bank.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up.
Any other questions? Thank you. I yield.
All right, does anybody have any other questions? When I share the playback, I will include the documents, Louise, that you shared, and the reminder for everybody what Vicki presented, and you uploaded it to the iStrive account, and then also Karen's information as well. So yeah. No, if nobody has any questions, or if they don't have any anything else they want to share or comment on, we'll wrap this up tonight. It's been a really productive meeting, so a lot going on and everybody working hard. It's really beautiful to see this pulling together. All right, we're gonna wrap it up, and just as a reminder, you know, we are getting into the holidays, but we're still going to meet next month. We're meeting December 10th. All right, 7:30. It's a Wednesday, December 10th. All right, so mark your calendars, and everybody have a great month. I'm so excited to see what everybody's going to bring back next month. So I look forward to hearing from everybody, and thank you all. Thank you to everybody that presented tonight, and you know, for all the work you're doing. Just love and appreciate each and every one of you. All
Hey,
right.
Tammy. Thank you, everybody.
Great,
All right.
thank you. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. See you next
Luck
All
in
right.
next month.
your assemblies.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night,
evening.
everybody.
Good night, all. Thank you.